All right, so here is the pattern of SSS. So that indicates we're going to use the law of cosines to solve. And again, what I would do is I'd look to find the largest angle first. So the largest angle here is going to be opposite the biggest side. So I'm going to find angle A first. So I'm going to begin with the side opposite it. 25 squared is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides minus twice the product of those two sides, all times the cosine of the angle opposite this first piece of information. All right, so again, the calculator won't actually solve inside there, so we need to let x represent the cosine ratio, and then we'll solve. All right, so the F2 algebra tab. Okay, so I'm going to, again, anticipate that I'm finding a value between -1 and +1, hit the decimal or green decimal to have my solution written in decimal form. So I have x is equal to 0.155, which is in the range that I expect. Therefore, if I take the inverse cosine of that ratio, I can find what the actual angle A is equal to. So inverse cosine of x, use the with key, and let x represent what it established. And that gives me 81.1. Okay, so next I can find either B or C. Again, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and find B here. I'm going to use the law of sines. So the sine of B over the side opposite it, 23, is equal to my known ratio now, which is the sine of 81.1 degrees over the side opposite it, 25. So once again, I can't solve for B inside this trig ratio, so I do have to let x represent that entire trig ratio. And when I do that, F2 algebra tab, enter my equation. X over 23 is equal to the sine of this angle 81 divided by 25, and I'm solving for x in this case. When I get that, or I wind up with the decimal 0.9088. So B can be solved by taking the inverse sine of that ratio. So the easiest way to calculate that is inverse sine of x. Use the with key, let x equal the ratio that I solved for. And I get my angle B to equal 65.3. Once I have that angle, I can then take the sum, subtract it from 180. So 180 minus 65.3 minus the other angle that we found, which was 81.1. And when we do that, we get our final angle to be 33.6. And those vary a little bit from what the answer shows. And so I'll make sure that I adjust it to include this set.